Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Um, so I definitely am taking my time this morning. I stayed in bed for a little bit longer than I normally do and just relaxed. And that's something that, even I don't really give myself a lot of time to just be, especially in the mornings because I have all the things planned. Typically, my mornings, like I'm getting up, feeding the animals, I like to do a little hypno dance, which is essentially just like dancing around while listening to binaural beats and like hypnotic affirmations and basically getting ready for the day. So today was very chill and sacred, I would say. Of course, there is a lot of energy going on in the world. There's a lot of energy going on cosmically, and then also a lot of devastation going on in the world. We've been getting a lot of flooding here in Texas, and then finding out that New Mexico is having the same stuff going on. So it's, like it can seem a little downtrodden, right? Um, Things are happening, and we know that we are shifting a lot consciously. Um, like with becoming more conscious, remembering who we are it's shifting into new timelines. Um, and with that, a lot of stuff gets disrupted. And so we're seeing this both on, um, like planetary weather wise, things are shifting. We're seeing this government wise, like tensions are high. Like wars are, like potentially being broken out. Like it's a lot is in the air. I would say a lot is in the air, and sometimes that can feel very heavy. And so it's really important right now to take care of yourself and look at yourself. And so my cat, he is my energy cat. He always likes to come up here and say hi. So there he is, right there. He he knows when I'm speaking and when I'm flowing energy through me. So he'll always come and cuddle up next to me whenever we talk every Wednesday morning. So if you ever see me just over here just doing things like this is me petting him. So um, anyways, today we're gonna talk about the feeling of being stuck, or why when you're seemingly doing all the right things, things don't seem to be moving, or you're not, the seeds that you're planting are not coming to fruition. And this is a common thing that I get a lot, like with a lot of my clients, um, and me. This is something that I definitely had to go through and learn, both in business and in life, even with spiritual awakening, even with, you know, healing myself. And I say healing, um, but what I'm going to talk about today is more about we we don't necessarily need to heal. We just need to remember. So this is a common, very common thing to experience, very common thing to feel, especially when we're moving from 3D world up to 5D and above. So that being said, the email that I sent out on Monday, so we're talking about, like when you're feeling stuck and tired, and you're planting all the seeds, you're doing all the things, you're, following up, you're making the events, and things just seem like they're taking so long. Like you have your goal that you set out in the future that you wanted, and it just does not seem to manifest in your timeline, right? Like we want everything in our timeline. We want, we want it when we want it. Again, living on that Amazon Prime, especially, yeah, it's like Prime Week this week, so we're on that Amazon Prime timetable. Like we are very conditioned for instant gratification, and this is especially like with our phones and notifications and all that stuff. Like we have everything at our fingertips, so we expect that when it comes to the things that we are putting out there in the world, or our own healing, or our own awakening, we expect that it should get here at a certain time. And that when we are not all of a sudden just, you know, ta-da, it's here, right? Like it doesn't just automatically shift like in a dime in a second, that we're doing something wrong. So it is important to know that this is something that every single person goes through. And I don't care if you were that person that like you shot off your business within 3 months, it was like super profitable. And I don't care if you're the person that, like one day just decided that I was going to stop being this way, like just woke up one time, or like you had like this tragedy maybe that came and you just completely changed your identity on a dime. Even those people feel like it took too long. So just know this is a common thing. It's part of the human condition. It's part of this programming that we have in our brains, that things should take a certain amount of time. So just know you're not alone. You're not behind. You are not doing anything wrong. You are just doing things in a way that perhaps is comfortable to your programming. You are doing things in a way that, like, and I say this with a caveat that, of course, things could be done differently, and they could be done in a way that you are fully embodied in your higher self. But things happen on a timeline. Like you have a divinely timed things when, like time when things are supposed to hit within your lifetime. And this was predetermined way out there, long that happened before you even came to this earth. Like this is essentially an agreement that you made, that you were going to experience certain things, and that it was going to happen on a certain timeline. So that being said, can't rush perfection, right? Like you can't rush it, because you're meant to learn certain things in a certain order at a certain time. And even when it feels like you're holding back, like that in between moment, like that dip, the pause, that the nothing seems to be happening phase, like it's really sacred terrain. And it's little steps is essentially your soul recalibrating to your inner world to match the vibration of what you've asked for. So while this feels like delay, it's actually preparation. So I like to say to my clients, because again, we all have this stigma that like things should happen in a certain timeline and in our way, and like if we don't see immediate results, that we take it to mean something about ourselves. But even 1% better is still better, right? Like that is still movement. The only thing that is not better is to completely just like backtrack and not do anything. And even sometimes, like, that's necessary. Like, even coming backwards is necessary or pausing. But as long as you still take steps, even if they're baby steps, because, if we rush things, if we go completely outside of our comfort zone on the first thing that we do, right? And um, our nervous system is still adjusting to that level of expansion that you're calling in, like, you can do more harm than good. Like, I always think about um I used to do sales for a fire like equipment company, and it was like the whole process was like, it was already icky to me, like sales in general. But I thought that to be a better salesperson, I might as well take a sales job, right? Like, so that was part of, and I was young too. But I used to do sales for a fire company, and so I did have success with it, because I believed in the product. Like, the actual product was really cool. They were like these little halon fire extinguishers, so they actually, um, like, the, what it does is it sucks the oxygen away from the fire, and the fire like goes out immediately. So they were really cool. So I had a belief in this product and excitement around the product. So I actually did really well. Like, I rose pretty quick up to like the top salesperson and office manager. Actually, we had like offices that we built, and so um, I was accepting an award. And so I was not one of those people that was comfortable with public speaking. And regardless, like, still, I do get a little twingy when it comes to public speak, like, just the idea of speaking in front of like big, large audiences. I'm more comfortable now that I've worked on it. But um, at that point, I was terrified of it. And so this was known. This was definitely known. So when I was in front of the company speaking and essentially accepting my award, and also talking about how I did it, right? Like, how I believed in the product, and how that's how, I don't even remember what my speech was about, actually, honestly. But I got up there, and so the person that spoke before me, he was the like regional director, and he left me a note and said, "Don't choke." So of course I see the note, and I was so like, it wasn't even like, I don't think I comprehended what the note even said when I got up to the podium, because I was just so freaking nervous. Like, I looked at it and I'm like, oh God. Like, it wasn't even like a chuckle or a like, you dick, right? Like, it was just like a, like, it didn't help. And so I was so nervous, and I was tripping over my words, and I was shaking, right? So I always equate, like, that was definitely well outside of my comfort zone at that point. To the point where, in like, I even had things before this that happened as a kid, like with a talent show. So that was so outside of my comfort zone that it was almost harmful. It was harmful to um, my psyche. It was harmful to my subconscious. So from then on, like, it was essentially another point of evidence that I was not good at public speaking, and that I was never going to be a public speaker or comfortable with it. So um, from that, and what's really interesting is, after that happened, um, my office started doing poorly, not as well. So it was kind of like a hit to the ego. So my nervous system was not adjusted to that. My subconscious was not on board with that. So when those things are not aligned, and when that like, if you're pushing yourself and forcing, and like trying to step outside of your comfort zone, sometimes you retract further back, right? Like it's not as there's not forward momentum, there's not movement going again. So when your mind is saying, I want this now, but your body is not feeling safe to receive it, this is why, like, you'll have like little manifestations, like things will pop in and then they'll like kind of fizzle out. Or, like the next thing that you put out like completely flops, right? Like it's not rejection, but it's actually an invitation to look inside, to build a little bit deeper of a capacity, because it's not it's not about avoiding emotions. Like, it's actually about building your capacity so that you can feel the highs and the lows, but more in a neutral um, favor. Like, this is something that we also talked about last week, like the pendulum. When the pendulum is swinging, right, like good and bad, right and wrong, like we're creating duality in this sense. But when the pendulum is sweeping or swinging, and you're assigning meanings to it, like, it's going to keep swinging. It's going to keep you in that matrix. So when you actually have the capacity to feel the emotions without it triggering something, or you're making a meaning out of it, the pendulum will start to slow and come to center. So the center point, like, that's kind of your 0 point. That's where you want. It's the field of neutrality here. That's what we want. And it's not about being void of emotion or anything like that. It is that it doesn't take you off kilter. Like this right here, the neutrality, the 0 point, the center, is alignment. That is alignment with your soul. So, we're building that capacity so that we can become in alignment with ourselves. So when you're thinking it's taking too long, or you're doing all the work and you're not seeing the results, like, again, it's not, for one, that's part of the pendulum, right? Like, we're seeing it as bad, but it's not punishment. Like, it's actually precision. It's an invite to grow. And again, your soul is constantly recalibrating, especially right now. We're getting a lot of energy and codes and downloads, but you're recalibrating from the inside out. So when you're feeling stuck, it's often not because you're doing the wrong things, it's because you're doing them from an old identity. It's from the old program. You're not yet fully in resonance with what your soul actually wants, what it desires. Because, like, again, we chase money, or our soul is, like, so we're chasing money, right? Like, we're out there chasing money, but your soul actually wants peace. Or you might be chasing relationships, but your soul actually wants self intimacy first. Or we're chasing, visibility, but your soul wants integrity. So think about this. Like, it's not actually the thing that we want. It's not the money or the house or the nice car or the successful business. Like, it's actually the feeling that we will get when we have those things. So our soul is calling for that feeling, which we can have that feeling without the things, right? We can have that feeling now. So the reason it feels slow or sticky is because you're trying to manifest from this frequency, again, old identity, old programs, that isn't congruent with what you're calling in. So the misalignment, like, it's the misalignment isn't the goal. It's actually the state of being from which you're trying to create it. So it's also kind of a paradox, right? Like, when you let go of needing things to make you feel complete, or the, like hitting the goals, or like the if then, if I get this thing, then I will be happy, or if I get this, then I will feel relaxed, right? Like the if then statements or paradox that we have in our mind. Or when you stop gripping that it has to happen at this time or in this way, like basically the outcome, like when we let go of the outcome, and when you embody who you actually are at your core, like your soul truth, what your soul actually wants, that's when everything starts shifting. That's when the phone calls start coming in. Like I even experienced this semi recently where just like people out of the blue were just finding me and being referred to me, and it's like I knew I was in alignment. You know, when the payments come in, when the support shows up, when the impossible becomes your new normal, like those are all because they're embodied. They're embodiment in the real portal. Like your internal frequency aligns with your soul's truth. And when that happens externally, they have to follow. They match, right? Like that frequency matches. So when you're chasing the things, the money, the clients, the health, the love, but really we're just trying to remember who we were back before the world told us to become someone else. Back before we were even on this earth, right? Like the money, the clients, the healing, the aligned relationships, those are just side effects of being fully embodied, being you. So when you feel like it's taking too long, just ask yourself, like, where am I still holding too tightly to how I think it should happen? Like, is this is part of my ego thinking, or is this, you know, like is this something that I actually want, right? Where am I holding on too tightly to how I think it should happen and when I think it should happen? And what part of me is still chasing something I think will prove my worth? Because again, that's a lot of the ego based thinking. Like, we think we got to prove ourselves so people know that we're important. So people, like we want to be liked. And what if I already had it? Who would I be today? Like, how would you act if you knew that, like, how would your embodied self act if you already had that thing? Like, who would you be? How would you act? And then, like, and that's probably one of the biggest, like that last question, it's probably one of the biggest things I like to ask myself in the morning, especially daily. Because this actually, when you put yourself in your higher self, your embodied self, right? Like, when I am this person, this is how I show up, right? So you think about, how would my higher self approach this client or this thing, or what would be the best thing as my higher self to put out into the world? Like, what feels good? So you start showing up differently. You start showing up as the version of you who already has the things, right? And then life will start to meet you there. And it's not because you forced it, not because you finally became the magnet, right? Not because you did the meditation and now you're like vibrating at a higher level. Like, you're not here to chase. You're here to resonate. So I hope that was helpful. Because this, again, like this is something that I feel like everybody goes through, that even I went through, still at times go through. Um, but it's always good to hear again, hear from a different like viewpoint, perspective. Um, so yeah, this is actually kind of it's a little bit of a sneak peek into the Visionary You program. This is something that we definitely teach a lot about embodying. Embodying, so, oh, my ring light went off. Hey. We teach um, how to raise your vibration, how to embody, how to, and even I've been adding some things on becoming your 5D self, so that you can raise the vibrations of others around you as well. Because again, important time to do that, collectively as a whole for the earth. We're all um, moving and ascending, and again, like this is why things are so disruptive right now, because we're moving into a different timeline, a different level, a different vibration. So that being said, so yeah, sneak peek into what goes on inside of the Visionary You program. If you did not see, the class has already started. So the live class started on Monday. We did our little welcome call, and then we on Wednesdays are our live days. However, I know some people were kind of, like they missed out on being able to join the class, either because of financial means, time means. Maybe it just wasn't in alignment at the time. So I did decide to drop a on-demand program, and this is actually one of my clients suggested this for me, and because it also honors my time as well. But suggested that I just drop the recordings from the last class as an on-demand class. So this is another way that you can get all of the juicy transformations, all of the learnings, all of, like, we do releases and energy work and hypnosis and subconscious reprogram and timeline shifting. And so this is a way that you can get into that without both the time and the financial cost of the live program. So that I dropped on Monday, and I can drop the link here as well. But this is, again, it's like fraction of the price. There are payment plans still with the Affirm and Klarna, so it's basically the most affordable option to get everything from the actual program. Of course, every time I teach it a little bit different, but I digress. Like, I still think it's a pretty awesome program. And also, you do get one-on-one time with me, and I might just throw some Q&A calls inside of there in case you do have questions. We could do like little group calls, but yeah, it's all recorded, so you can listen to this stuff on your way to work, or just like in between time clients, like even just when you're cooking dinner. So these are really good ways for people to still get the transformation and still see the results. So I will drop that in the comments if that is of interest to you. Definitely jump on it, because I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep it open. This is my first time doing the on-demand program, but yeah, it's something that it's my baby, right? Like these classes are my baby, and I just love seeing people shift from them. And then, yeah, like if there's anything that you have questions on, anything that you want to discuss, you want to see a little bit more about what the program's about. Of course, there are, like a lot of information. There's going to be information as far as like on the sign up page, but I'm always here. I am definitely always here, even if it's not about the program. Like, honestly, I love connecting with people and just seeing ways that I can help. Even if we're not like not one of my coaching clients, like ways that I can help you move towards a, your higher self or your more embodied self. So I'm always here for a chat. And again, like, I love you guys. I appreciate you for being in my community. I'm going to take it easy and sip on my coffee and just chill. So I am always here, available for you. Thank you guys. Have an amazing rest of your week. Bye now.